Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman or God, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, to all the sages and saints, and to each of you divine soul watching today's satsang. So today we will be taking up Sutra number 32 from the Kaivalya Pad of the Raja Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So, commentaries by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So, let's get started. Sutra number 32, Kaivalya Pad. The sutra is Tatah Kritarthanam Parinam Krama Samapattir Gunanam. Again, Tatah Kritarthanam Parinam Krama Samapattir Gunanam. Then, after the experience of Dharma Megha Samadhi for the yogis who have accomplished the purpose of their existence through liberation, the series of modifications of the gunas ceases to exist. So now, since the yogi has attained liberation through Dharma Megha, Paraviragya, and Asampragyata Samadhi, remember in the previous sutra we covered that. So all this at this stage, the sage or yogi is enlightened. So at this point, the gunas cease to exist. Gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas, and the modifications of the gunas are what creates change in our daily thought processes and patterns. And this is what this sutra is explaining. So it has been explained before that Prakriti, which consists of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. By now we all know that. Sattva is purity, rajas is activity, and tamas is inertia. So the three gunas exist for the purpose of giving. Why do they exist? They exist for giving the soul, your consciousness, bhoga, which is enjoyment, and apavarga, liberation. So it has only two purposes. One is to keep you entangled in the world process of pleasure and pain, and the other one is to guide you towards liberation. So although these gunas and their modifications continue to operate for souls that are unenlightened, because they will continue to experience different ratios of gunas, keeping them in a state of bondage, yet once enlightenment is attained, a yogi becomes free of them and their series of modifications, thereby freeing him from the series of birth and death. In other words, there is no chitta to worry about anymore. The soul, consciousness, dharma megha, is it. So therefore the gunas and their modifications are no longer needed by this yogi, since he has attained enlightenment already. So prakriti is ever changing, but in the case of the enlightened, these changes are from similar to similar, like the burning flame of a candle. That is important for people to know, that for an enlightened sage to still exist, because they grow old also, they die also, they have diseases, they have pain, and so on, and we do too. So a lot of average people are confused then. What does liberation mean? Why do liberated people die? So because the prarabdha karma does not end it. Once the prarabdha, you still have to maintain the practical realities of the world. You'll still age, you'll still grow old, you'll still feel hungry. Those don't go away just because you are enlightened. But the future, which means you will never be born again and you have disconnected the cord of life and death, is really what enlightenment is, and then your inner experience. So it's more of a subjective experience, not objective. In the case of the unenlightened, the changes are complex and dissimilar, but once we become enlightened, it's like a candle flame. Just like this flame that you see is constant and not moving, whereas if the same flame was in a windy situation outside, it would flicker and then be turned off. So the wind would blow it off. So that's why sages experience this level of similar to similar experience, whereas distracted people constantly think of something, then they want to think of something else, and the mind is constantly jumping like a monkey because of dissimilar thought patterns. The latter change of are the basis for the soul's dependence in the world of matter. This is why people get stuck in matter, while the former are ineffective in causing bondage for the soul. So that is the term called krama. Krama is series. So again, the bottom line is that for a yogi, the series is similar to similar. It's called sajatiya vritti pravaha. Means the same sort of vritti, like one flame, then the other flame, then the third one. So it looks like it's the same flame, but each flame is a different flame actually, just like the river flowing. Each flow, it seems like the river is not changing, but it's changing at every moment actually. So that is the essence of this sutra, that for enlightened people the gunas no longer are needed to take their effect, but for worldly people they are constantly affected by the three gunas. This is Swami Nikhilananda. We will cover the next sutra, sutra number 33, tomorrow. Om Tat Sat.